Hello, welcome back. We're talking about the transition process, the transfer of political power from one government to the other. In this particular video, we are talking about the functions or duties of the transition team and the subcommittees they can work with. I am Gordon Selassie Dako, and this is Make It Legal. Make it legal. In case you missed the first video in this series, we are leaving the link right in the description column. Go there and watch that video so you can understand this one as well. We're talking the transition process, the process that begins as soon as the result of the presidential election is declared, all the way till the government takes over office or assume office. One of the first things I think you need to know is that once the committee is formed, they are expected by the law, that is the Presidential Transition Act at 845. They are expected by that law to meet, to have their first meeting not later than 48 hours after the declaration of the results. So once the results are declared, within 48 hours, they're supposed to meet or have their first meeting. What it means also is that if the president and the president-elect miss the appointment of the team members within the 24 hours, there will be difficulty in meeting within 48 hours. So the law takes everything into consideration and expects that by the end of the 24th hour, they'll be able to appoint the team. And the next 24 hours, they should be able to meet. And that will be their first meeting. That is important. So, but the question largely is, once they are formed and are now able to have their first meeting, what will they be doing? What are their functions? And we are explaining that in this video. So let's talk about their functions. They do a number of things and I will take you through them. So the first duty or function of the transition team is to ensure that there is transfer of political power. At the end of the day, they are expected to ensure that President Akufo-Addo transfers power from his MPP government and administration to President John Dramani Mahama and his NDC government and administration. So there should be a transfer of power at the end of the day, and that is a duty of the transition team. They are to make every reasonable and practicable arrangement to ensure the transfer of political power. I mean, once President Mahama has been elected, President Akufo-Addo should not stay in office beyond the 4 years. So they are to ensure that that happens, the transfer of power happens, so that we don't have any issue of President Akufo-Addo staying in power beyond the 4 years. So that's the first duty of the transition team. They perform that duty. And I'll tell you how they perform that duty later. The second duty has to do with the daily national security briefings to the president-elect. So that team is expected to be briefing the president-elect daily, the national security of the country. Where there is chaos, there are issues on our borders or about some regions or some sectors or any security concern at all, the team's supposed to be updating and briefing the president-elect because he has to be aware, because in a few days he'll be the man of the moment. So it will be a big error on part of us as a nation for him not to be aware. So he's expected to receive daily national security briefings, and this is part of the works of the transition team. That is why they are there. Like I said, I'll tell you how they perform all these duties in few minutes. So just stay tuned and don't forget to click the like button right now to like the video. And if you're yet subscribed to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your subscription means so much to us. It encourages us to keep going and keep producing more videos for you. So go ahead now and click the subscription button to subscribe to the channel. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and do it. Yes, click it. It doesn't bite. Just click the subscription button and boom, you subscribed. And click like to also like as well. The third duty they perform is to ensure that the persons who we call Article 71 holders, the president, the vice president, the members of parliament, the speaker of parliament, the chief justice, and some key persons, they receive all their allowances, facilities, privileges, retirement benefit, and what have you. They get to receive all those entitlements And it is the duty of the transition team to ensure that the Article 71 office holders receive all their benefits. Of course, the benefits are determined by the president as well as by parliament. For now, what you need to know is that they have to ensure that at the end of the day, persons who are entitled to receive any of those benefits from the category of the officers we mentioned, they get to receive their benefits. It is their duty. So that is the third duty that the transition team will perform. The fourth duty is to perform any other function that will ensure that the object of the act is accomplished or is achieved. When I talk about the act, I'm referring to the law, right? So the law would have its own objects, either outlined in a particular section or stated in what we call the long title of the law. Okay, every law has various parts. Let me just chip in that briefly. A law, for example, the act we're talking about, the Presidential Transition Act, you will realize that it has a name, that is Presidential Transition Act. We call that a short title. Okay, short title. And then we also have the long title. The long title is in this format where they state that it is an act to establish arrangements for the political transfer of administration from one democratically elected president to another democratically elected president, to provide for the regulation of the political transfer of power and for related matters. So that is the object of the act. The last function is talking about the fact that the transition team is to ensure that the object of the act is accomplished. That is, there is indeed arrangements made for the transfer of political power from one democratically elected president to another. And those are the key functions performed by the transition team. So what I'm talking about, the very basic term, is that the team of persons put together by President-elect John Mahama and President Nana Akufo-Addo are expected to do all these four things I talked about in various forms to ensure that at the end of the day, there is a smooth transfer of political power from President Nana Akufo-Addo to President John Dramani Mahama. But the big question also is, how do they do that? How do they get to transfer political power from President Nana Akufo-Addo to President John Mahama? Of course, as a team, they have the mandate to form a committee or to form what the law refers to as subcommittees. And I'll tell you about that right away. So the law requires them to form four committees by which they can do their work. And the first committee is inauguration subcommittee. Their basic role is to ensure that there is inauguration into office, okay, of the president-elect. And there is also provision made for the taking of the oath of the president and all of that. So that is their basic duty. So the second committee they work with, or the second subcommittee they work with, is the government machinery subcommittee. As the name suggests, it takes care of the handing over of all ministries, civil service departments of the former government or the outgoing government to the new government or the incoming government. So they are to ensure that there is that smooth transfer or handing over of all civil services, ministries, departments, and all of that to the new government. So they hand over the government administration and machinery to the new government, and that is their duty. So the third committee they have the power to form, of course, from among themselves, okay, is the presidency committee or presidency subcommittee, I should say. Now, this committee has a very simple duty of ensuring that there is still a transfer of all presidential assets, official assets of the government, and liabilities of the government, either of the president, vice president, ministers, ministries, and departments. They are all transferred from Nana Akufo-Addo and his team to President Mahama. And of course, you heard me right. It is a transfer of official assets and liabilities, either of the president or the vice president, ministers, deputy ministers, ministries, and all of that, from Akufo-Addo's government to President Mahama's. So that is very important. They are also a very important subcommittee that helps the transition team to undertake their duties. It is the presidency subcommittee. The last committee they have the power to form is any other committee that will help the committee to perform their duties. So if they think that they need to have a subcommittee that will take care of all official vehicles of the outgoing president or outgoing government, they can do so. So these are the basic duties of the transition team, and that is what you should expect them to perform as they carry out their duties. And as a citizen, I think it's important for you to know, so you understand what they are appointed to do, and you can demand accountability or result from them. And I've explained to you also how they perform that. They do so by or with subcommittees, which they have the power to form. 3 of them: the government machinery subcommittee, the presidency subcommittee, and the last one, inauguration subcommittee, and any other committee that they think that will help them or is relevant to assist in the performance of their duties. And I believe you pick a lesson or two from this one. But if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click the subscription button, subscribe to the channel, and also click the like button to like the video. When you're done liking and subscribing, please share with a friend. We are excited to hear from you and read your comments. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let's know what you think. What are your thoughts about the duties of this transition team? Do you have some questions you want to ask or you want us to answer? Please drop it in the comment section and we'll answer it right away. Yes, look out for our next video where we explain more about the transition process. Don't miss it. I am Gordon Selassie Dakbo, and this is Make It Legal. Make it legal.